Hello and welcome to this video presentation of the Banker's Top 500 Banking Brands for 2017. This year, the big trends are a rise in brand values overall, the increasing dominance of the ranking by Chinese banks, and we've seen some spectacular falls in Europe, such as a 34% drop in the brand value of German banks. So let's start with the overall rise in value. For the first time, the total brand value of the top 500 has broken through the $1 trillion mark. So while banks in the West are still hitting the headlines for the wrong reasons, such as conduct and security issues, in fact the business of banking overall is doing very well. Large markets such as China, Canada and Brazil are seeing significant growth, with heavyweights such as the US, Japan and India experiencing moderate growth. All this translates into an 8.7% uplift in global brand value to $1,074 billion. The figures are calculated by the consultant Brand Finance using what is called the royalty relief approach. In other words, how much would the brand be worth if it was sold to a third party? China is the outstanding performer. China's leading bank brand, ICBC, has grown by 32% to $47.8 billion to top the ranking. And as you can see from the chart, ICBC is one of 4 Chinese banks in the top 10 and one of 3 in the top 5. US banks do remain in a strong position despite Wells Fargo losing the number 1 spot. Spain's Santander is a new entry at number 10, replacing the UK's Barclays, which has dropped to 15th place. HSBC remains in 9th place, even though its brand value fell 14%. Now in this next table, the big divergences in country performance become even clearer, because the total brand value of Chinese banks has climbed 25% to $259 billion, putting China ahead of the US for the first time. 11 Chinese banks joined the ranking, making 45 altogether, and of those 45, only 2 saw a drop in brand value. US banks also increased their brand value by 7% to $241 billion, but this wasn't enough to keep them in top position. The UK banks managed to hold on to 3rd place despite a 16% drop in brand value, but with a 26% increase in Canadian banks' value, in 4th place they're catching up. Another big rise came from Brazil, with a 50% uplift, partly due to a rebound in the strength of the currency and the ability of the banks to ride out the country's recession. Brazil lifted from 14th to 9th place, behind Spain in 8th place and ahead of India in 10th place. While Spanish banks have held their own, the more common occurrence in Europe is for declines. In brand value terms, the UK led the way down, as we can see in this next table, with a drop of $11.7 billion, followed by Germany losing $8.5 billion, with smaller decreases for Italy, France and the Netherlands. Falls of over $3 billion each by HSBC and Barclays helped bring down the UK total, while in Germany the loss of brand value at Deutsche Bank alone accounts for 40% of the country's decline. Banks are increasingly aware of the importance of brand to their business model. The Banker's Top 500 Brands has been running for more than a decade, and during that time many big international banks suffered reputational damage as a result of the financial crisis, and now they're facing increasing competition from challengers and fintechs. More than ever, they're becoming alert to branding issues. For the full results and analysis of the Banker's Top 500 Banking Brands, please see the February issue of the magazine.